Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. And with that, let the 24 games begin. Donald Trump makes it official all as the GOP takes over the House and fires Nancy Pelosi. We're gonna take a look at both of these huge developments back to back, and make sure to stick me to the very end of this video because we actually have a part 2 that involves the new Southern California ballot harvesting strategy used by Republicans that in many ways won us the House, and that many are arguing serves as a model for how we can crush the Democrats at their own game in 2024. You are not going to want to miss this. In front of a packed crowd at his home in Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump officially announced his candidacy for President of the United States. The speech he gave was very serious and sober, was at times rather somber in tone. The speech was structured beautifully. It began by reminding us of what life was like when Trump was president. Now, of course, the announcement is already triggering the far left, particularly the woke activists disguised as journalists over at The Washington Post. They actually ran the headline, the fake news headline, "Trump, who is president, fomented an insurrection, says he's running." I love all these guys ignore delete. They deliberately ignored the FBI investigation that concluded there was no hard evidence whatsoever that the riot on January 6 was a result of an organized plot to overturn the presidential election. There was no insurrection, there was no coup, and these left-wing activists disguised as journalists know it. But then again, these are the same people who don't know what a woman is or what a recession is. But yet they are infallible experts when it comes to an insurrection. Well, obviously not, but unfortunately for the lamestream media, most pundits even, especially like the Murdoch, Fox News types, the Daily Wire types, even they were very impressed with the tone of the speech. In fact, even Rhino King Lindsey Graham tweeted out that if this is the tone and message that Trump's campaign is going to have throughout, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. And he's absolutely right on that. What we heard from that speech is clearly employing a strategy that Dick Morris calls hybridity. Morris has been advocating that Trump is what he's clearly channeling here. Trump is our first hybrid candidate. He's our first hybrid. He's part incumbent, part challenger. This is Trump's huge advantage that no other Republican is going to have if they were to try to get the nomination. He's a part candidate, part challenger. So as a challenger, you can go around complaining about gas prices, inflation, the open border, and generally the only response that the incumbent has to the challenger is, well, how do we know that you can do any better? And that tends to be the Achilles heel of a challenger. The incumbent is like, yeah, I mean, I have a great, but at least I got a record, right? At least we know what we're gonna get with me, you could be a lot worse. But this is the advantage of Trump's hybridity. Biden can't say that. Like in his announcement speech, Trump can point to success after success after success, have a proven track record of getting our nation back on track. That's the advantage of being a hybrid candidate. And again, no other potential GOP candidate has this advantage. So 2024 is up and running. And we have our very first hybrid candidate who's going to actually continually slam Biden while at the same time pointing to his own successes. So what about Congress? What should we expect from the new Republican-controlled House? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Alright, so it is official from the decision desk. The Republicans have indeed taken over the House. Nancy Pelosi has been fired. They needed 218 seats, right now they have 219. And most analysts are predicting that they're going to pick up a few more seats before all said and done. Regardless, the Republicans do have control of the House. And now the key is, what are they planning on doing? And this to me is actually very interesting. And the way Trump's announcement is quite literally correlating with the GOP take over the House. Remember, now that Trump has begun the race, he's going to be hammering Biden's record of failures daily, nonstop. And while all that's going on, Republicans have already made it clear that they're going to begin holding hearings via various oversight committees on a number of issues that are going to go right along with Trump's campaign hammer the Democrats daily. So The Hill is reporting that the Republicans have 5 investigative committees or 5 overarching verticals once they take over the House leadership. So obviously, Hunter Biden is front and center. He's the most low-hanging fruit in all of this. Want to just think about once an oversight committee comes together, investigates firsthand Hunter's laptop, I mean, That alone may be it in terms of the bombshell revelations coming out from that. Even liberals like Bill Maher are aghast at what's on that laptop. So we got Hunter. We got the political weaponization, the FBI with Jim Jordan for grounding. Now the what are they 30-40 whistleblowers, who have come forward from within the FBI with evidence of corruption. You've got the whole COVID fiasco with its origins and Fauci and vaccines. They're promising also to investigate the botched and disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. And of course, fifthly, the authorly criminal neglect, the willful neglect of our southern border, and that's when you might see impeachments Mayorkas, the Director of Homeland Security, and of course, with the weaponization the FBI and the Justice Department, that's gonna bring the corruption Merrick Garland front and center as well. So the heads up here when as we go into this is not going to be a legislative Congress, right? Any legislation that they pass would go nowhere. So instead, Republicans have a twofold job: stop any and all Democratic insanity either from the Senate or the White House, and launch massive oversight committee investigations that work in tandem with Trump's campaign to hammer Biden and the Democrats daily. That's a pretty strong combination for the next 2 years. Now, the next thing we have to talk about is how we're going to counter the Democrat ballot harvesting that clearly frustrated our midterm efforts last week. And so in our next video today, I'm going to talk about the very successful Southern California ballot harvesting that won the GOP a number of seats, and many are saying that that is the model for every single contest and every single blue state and swing state. It's absolutely essential. It is essential that the GOP puts together an overwhelming ballot harvesting strategy to completely neutralize the Democrat early vote. If we employ the SoCal model, we'll crush the Democrats. This is some big news. Democrat Maxine Mosley has now defeated Republican Larry Cagney in the Hillsborough 16 House districts. Okay. This is what happened. On Monday, Moses said that she was overwhelmed by the result. Why? Because she had been losing. Maxine Mosley had been losing. Maximos Lee was showing her Republican opponent Larry Cagney in the Hillsborough 16 House district race last week by 23 votes. Very, very tight. But there was a machine recount, and Mosley wins by 1 vote. That's right. Congratulations to the winner Maxine Mosley, who was losing by 23. But because of great voodoo Democrat math, her Republican opponent who was winning due to machine count has now lost by 1 vote. Man, as the Democrats are so lucky. When things barely happen, they seem to generally happen in favor of Democrats. So Maxine Mosley back in. Larry, gonna send you packing. Isn't that interesting? Winning 1 minute, losing the next. Okay, folks, Kevin Kiley, a Republican from California, was Donald Trump's choice in California's 3rd congressional district. On Tuesday, he defeated his Democrat opponent, and that secures the House majority for the Republican Party. Starting off with a little bit of good news, not the tsunami, not the wave that we should have had. And we know why we didn't have, by the way. There's still 14. So more than a week later, and there's still 14 undecided congressional races, because we know it's not over until the Democrats say it's over, or until they can see how well their Republican counterpart is doing. And I'm not going to finish that sentence. Folks, Kevin Kiley, who said the guy is pretty MAGA. He said, back in March, if we get the majority in Congress, we're going to need to actually put forward legislation that will return us to those policies of the Trump era that were moving our country in the right direction to try to actually get our economy going again, to try to return security to our border, to lower taxes. So the guy is MAGA in America. First, pro-Trump backed by Trump in blue, California wins. Yet, in Arizona, Katie Hobbs be the most MAGA woman. I would say she's the most feminine and personification of Donald Trump, even more so than Marcella Green and Lauren Bulbar. Who, by the way, Lauren Barbara is still winning. She's still leading. She's one of those 14 races still to be decided in the House. So congratulations to that. Let's get Trump in here. Let's get Trump. What did Trump have to say about the Republicans winning the House and it's being called by the AQ decision desk? By the way. Also, House Republicans whip Steve Scalise was elected to the House Majority Leader. He's been Republican whip for the last 8 years. That was no surprise. I'm honored to be elected by my colleagues to serve as the House Majority Leader in the 118th Congress. It's time to get to work. This is where things actually suck. This is where the civil conflict within the Republican Party shows what's really going on. The Republican leadership in D.C. They hate us. We're hated by the Democrats, the Marxists, the globalists, the crooks, the anti-American forces, the globalist banking families, the IRS, the FBI. They all hate MAGA, America First. And on that list of haters of the Trump supporters and voters of conservative leaning are the supposed elected officials that are supposed to represent us. The House Republicans voted for Tom Emmer for House Whip over Representative Jim Banks 115 or 106, somewhere close. But here's the crazy thing. Tom Emmer is a liberal rhino, and he is a George Soros-connected guy. We have a George Soros-connected guy, a rhino who has voted liberal as the House Whip. The guy once served as a paid spokesperson for a Soros-funded organization. And what was that organization trying to do? Get rid of the Electoral College? Yep, that is who is the Republican whip. If you've been here a while, you'll know that after 2020 elections and how there was no support for President Trump by the rhino establishment that I said, and I'm officially not a Republican, by the way, I left the Republican Party after that, for them not having President Trump's back, not doing the true legal fights that need to be done. And pretty much being happy because they were they were in on it as far as doing everything to hurt Trump a couple years ago. So it wasn't just a Democrat machines and the Democrat math. It was also the Republicans who the right of the establishment rhinos that were in on it as well. In the media, and everything else, okay, not fighting, not protecting, not doing their jobs, not upholding the Constitution. What more proof do you need than having a formerly paid Soros guy who is trying to get rid of Electoral College as the whip? Oh, BCP, but you're missing it. He can work on both sides, and if you really want a liberal, unknown George Soros liberal, because he knows how to work both sides, he is on the other side. That means we don't have true representative as a whip. Jim Banks, of course, is MAGA. There's no way they could have had him do that. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to watch the next episode.